In one of the country's biggest general strikes in decades, more than 800,000 people flooded streets across France to protest planned pension reforms. The majority of French citizens support the mass demonstrations, as they did in 1995, when similar protests paralyzed the country for 3 weeks, eventually forcing then Prime Minister Alain Juppé to scrap his government's pension reform plan. But public opinion is not necessarily the deciding factor for ending political stalemates.
Sometimes, even in the face of protests with vast popular support, the government won't budge an inch. In other cases, the government has ceded to protesters' demands, even when they didn't have much popular support, because they successfully paralyzed the country. That was the case in 1995.
Political communication also plays an essential role. Former and current Prime Ministers Alain Juppé and Edouard Philippe adopted two opposing strategies.
Yes, France can and must continue on the path towards reform, which has been avoided for much too long. That is my deep conviction.
My logic is not and will never be that of confrontation.
Today, perhaps even more so than in 1995, the government must take a widespread sense of economic injustice into account.
In 1995, like in 2019, the government was extremely unpopular. And now, 25 years later, the same concerns about retirement remain. But there's also a pervasive sense of suffering in the country, especially as it relates to purchasing power.
On Sunday, the French Prime Minister said he would not cave to pressure from the streets, insisting if his government is unable to move forward with pension reform now, much more brutal changes could be required in the future. The government is set to reveal the details of the controversial plan on Wednesday.